knows he was on fire. And if you walk around this room the last couple of days, there's quite a few foosball players that are in here that are on fire. And but who's really on fire tonight are the 5 inductees into the Hall of Fame. And we're here once again to put the final crown jewel in the crowns of the former kings and queens of foosball as the current kings and queens of foosball look on. And I would like to make one pitch here this evening. When you look at the foosball overall arena, what's really lacking here is we need a big sponsor to take it to the big money, to make it into a sport that has some size and volume to it again, like it did in the old days. In the 70s, foosball was the 8th largest sport in the world, and it can get there again. And all it needs is, the right sponsor. And if I had to appeal like to say a beverage maker, let's say Coca-Cola. Can you imagine the World Championships of foosball being in Atlanta and the Pro-Am being played with the Coca-Cola employees, so that you're crowning a Coca-Cola employee as a world champion? And you walk into a room like this and every foosball table looks like a Coca-Cola can. People all over the United States having a Coca-Cola, popping the cap that says table 47. Mary Moore sends them that table and a CD to go along with it. It could be a great promotion all the way around. It only takes one beverage maker like that or any other kind of sponsor to finally push foosball over the top again. And I'd really love to see it. But we're going to start this evening. Our first presenter is going to be Kathy Brainerd. And actually, before I get to that, I forgot I'm going to give you a rundown of all these players. And if you start over here on the right with Karen Gilliland and Lori Schranz, 2 of the all-time greatest girl goalies that ever played the game. And then Gary File, who passed away this last year. Joe Snyder, who's also passed away. Marcio Venetia, who's here with us tonight. Is Marcio here? He left. Billy Sumption still here tonight? Tom Hansen is not here, one of the originals. Larry Folk's not here. Lawrence Patterson, Bob Hayes, and Lee Peppard were all promoters of tables back in the 70s. Doug Furry, the great player from Minnesota, who won the Corvettes, the Porsche. Jim Wiswell, his partner. Ed McLeod, who was an owner and promoter for Tornado. Dan Kaiser, essentially my arch rival during the 1970s. Carrie Walliger, great woman forward. Dave Currington, you're here tonight. Step up, stand up. Dave Currington, great Tornado promoter. In fact, most of us wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Dave Currington and Link Penley. Link, you want to stand up, take a bow? Johnny Lott, who's ill and could not attend tonight. Steve Simon, who wrestled the singles title away from me in 1975. Steve Murray, is he still here? First man to triple. Bob Furr, another Tornado promoter. Brent Bednar. Mike Bells is goalie. Where's Mike Bells? Stand up, Mike Bells. Take a ball. Great Minnesota team. Todd Lafredo. Todd Lafredo came walking into my game room when he was 16 years old without any titles. And now we're, 20, 30 open doubles, open singles titles later. One of the all-time greatest ever. He'd certainly garner my vote. Dieter Thiel from Europe, one of the great European players who played over here for many, many years. Cindy Head, another person that we don't even know how many titles she's got, 25, 40, whatever. And Jim Stevens, the all-time greatest announcer we've ever had. Does an outstanding job over and over and over. Tom Spear, another great player from Colorado. Terry Moore, probably the all-time greatest rollover shooter ever. And there's a few people in this room that are gonna, put that to test in the future. Gil Jackson, another great goalie from Colorado who's no longer with us. Dave Gummison. Where is Dave Gummison? Great player from Minnesota. One of the few players that was able to crack the Lafredo Collignon domination of doubles. Tina Rotan. Another great player from Colorado. Mike Bells. John Smith, who was inducted a couple years ago, great forward from Texas. And Kathy Brainerd, who's about to come up here pretty soon. Kathy Brainerd, she's a Hall of Famer in almost every aspect of the game, from promoting to writing about it, to indoctrinating it, to playing it, doing everything. Vicky Chalgren, another great forward from Colorado, wicked left hand. Cal Rogers, another promoter during the tournament soccer era in the 70s. Mark Crowell, who was inducted last year, great dynamo, tornado, and tournament soccer player. Tim Burns, my forward from Colorado when we won the World Champions in 1980. Rick Martin, who won many tournaments with Dan Kaiser and was a World Singles Champion. And that brings us to Kathy Brainerd presenting the next person.
Good evening. It is a great honor for me to introduce to you Ms. Bev Froome from Portland, Oregon. The 1970s were a great time for foosball in the Pacific Northwest, and it produced many great female goalies, and Bev is one of the greatest. She brought a special intensity to the table every time she played. She won 2 world titles in some of the biggest tournaments ever held. And perhaps the greatest tribute to her is that in 1979, she was voted by her peers, not for one special award, but for 2. She won the Female Professionalism Award and the Female Sportsmanship Award. So that says a lot for what she brought to the sport and to the table every time she played. So I present to you Ms. Bev Froome.
voting for me as the Hall of Famers and thinking of me, remembering me. It's been 32 years since I retired, and it's been a while. So I played with Jeep and Todd and Johnny Lott, Doug Furry, Rick Beberg, Red Eye. He was my main mixed doubles partner, and we had some great times. Played with Kathy in some women's tournaments. We lived together up in Seattle when we were working for tournament soccer, and got a lot of experience up there in promoting. Put on tournaments in the Northwest, Portland, and I also did Beat the Pros for a while, traveling just the Oregon, Southern Washington. And I just want to thank IFP and Mary Moore and the Hall of Famers and Tornado very much. Thank you.
longest match I ever played was against Beth Froome, hour and 46 minutes. Okay, next up we have presenting for Ken Alwell, Jim Stevens, please.
Thank you, Mike. As a young player growing up in Southern California, our local gang of players idolized the top TS players like Mike Bowers and the great Colorado Foosers, Lafredo, Jackson, and Spear, and the Minnesota superstars, Wiz and Furr, Bells and Bednar, and Ken Alwell. These were the legendary figures who we all followed as if they were Major League Baseball players or NBA stars. And for me, as a push kicker, Ken Alwell was my man. His smooth, stroking long and timely dinks and his classy approach to the game. I followed his career as he competed in some of the biggest championship finals of all time, reaching the finals at the 77 World Championships and 79 Super Doubles, both with first place prizes of more than $20,000. In fact, one of my good friends at that time, Ben Rivera, developed a close friendship with Alwell, who came to California to train Ben, and ironically, Ben would end up beating Ken Alwell in that Super Doubles final in 1979. However, Kenny, we do remember that you did win open doubles that weekend over one of the toughest fields ever assembled, so let's not forget that. I actually didn't meet Ken Alwell until 1993, when he returned to the sport as a promoter and tournament director, and over the next few years we became very close friends. And I quickly learned that Kenny was more than just a great foosball player. He was, and is, a great foosball man, one of the brightest that we've ever produced. Kenny has been involved as a promoter, table designer, and video producer and host, and has remained a part of the sport off and on for the last 20 years. He also remained a solid player, finishing second at the 1994 World Championships in mixed doubles. Certainly, Kenny's dedication and commitment to the sport were an integral part of his induction today. But for me, it was my youthful image of that classy push kicker from the TS era that makes him a true Hall of Famer in my eyes. It is an honor and a pleasure to introduce the second 2013 Hall of Fame inductee, my friend, Ken Alwell.
Wow. You know, one of the things I decided, Jim sent me an email, a cryptic email about a month and a half ago. Holy shit, they put you in the Hall of Fame. And I was like, I thought it was a joke. This was like on a Friday night, and I told my wife, well, can you hear me? What? So I thought to myself, if I'm gonna go to Vegas, I wanna play. And this is not something you can put down. Somebody said something to me that it's just like riding a bike. It's not. You know, it's really not at this level. And I'm glad of that. Actually, I was thinking about it. I played open doubles. I lost. Ice, are you here? Sorry, dude. That was really all I had. But it's a tribute to the professionalism, to the degree. Like, really, if I would have come in here and won, you guys would suck. And you don't. So. And one of the things that I was struck with, you know, I was thinking about this. I was going to write down notes and a speech and stuff. But when I came in Friday night, I saw people that I've competed against and respected, but were my friends, like from all over. And I watched that going on at every level. This game has brought all of us together. And that I was watching people hug each other. And these are guys that you're going to go toe to toe with later on. I think that's unique. You know, I guess I haven't really been in any other sport, but I appreciate that about foosball. So maybe I should just take a quick glance at my notes, because there were a couple of things. I wanted to thank some people. I want to say hi to Dave Knudsen, if he's watching back in Minnesota, and Mike Vandenbosch. And I'm going to thank the players here. I'm going to thank Mike Bells for what he did. Mike and I worked together, what were we, 16 years old? We were working at McDonald's in Roseville, Minnesota. And he went out to Denver and won like 11 grand. Him and Brent took second place. And I thought, I'm better than him. I wasn't, but that's how you become an overachiever. And he was working in an arcade, and I was shooting a push shot, and I had no fibro or anything, and he was actually a pretty accomplished player by that time. And he showed me how to shoot a push kick, and I remember the first thing out of his mouth was, "Oh shit," and because I caught on really fast. And it was those kinds of things. I'm looking at my Canadian friends now. I've moved to Toronto. I'm Canadian, and passing on knowledge like that. Mike Bowers took me under his wing when I was, 19? And I know Todd owes a lot to that. And those kinds of things, passing on knowledge. I'm watching in this room. What's happening here was built on a foundation. Guys like Tom Hansen, Billy Sumption, people that made it possible for us to have tournaments, have foosball. This is the best tornado table I've seen them put out. Like if I came back to the game on this table, I could actually do my old series, and that would have been cool. Anyway, that's enough of that. So did I thank Dave Currington for the work that he's done over the years? He's stuck with it. Mary Moore, who this is my first Mary Moore event, and I'm impressed. She does a great job. I know what it's like to put everything you've got into something like this. And Mary, are you around here? Can you take a stand? I think we should. She's kept things going. I agree with Mike Bowers. One of the things that I did when I worked with NATSA and Kathy Brainerd was approach sponsors. We did get sponsorship money, and Mike's right. These things could happen. It takes an organization. As players, what the hell can you do about that? Well, if you have any contacts, have them get in touch with Mary. I still have that desire to come back and see if maybe we can make it grow. I was lucky enough, I'm fortunate, so thank you for those of you who the promoters who put the time in. Is there like music gonna start? Is this like the Oscars? I can just stand up here and, okay. Hey Billy, you're back. Cool. Thanks for all you did so that we could play. In high school, we had 2 foosball tables in our cafeteria. There were quarters stacked up. That was when the game was a quarter. And there were quarters stacked up. Everybody played. And that sort of thing, like I did a lot of work with the Boys and Girls Clubs when I worked with NATSA. And they gravitated. We ran an event up in Seattle, 2002, we called it Game Fest. And we had foosball, air hockey, ping pong, we had Xbox, we had the Sonics and all that. It was huge. We were at Seahawks Stadium. Foosball was the #1 participatory event. Kids 8 to 18 years old. So they still gravitate to the game. Well, I guess that's gonna be it. I appreciate the time. I'm honored. I feel great. Thank you.
Back in 1974, when I won the Open Singles Championship, an incredible thing happened at the end of the tournament. I was able to win the last match 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 15 points in a row. And when I would tell people that, they kind of wouldn't believe me. And there were witnesses, and one of them is here tonight. And he wasn't here when we introduced everybody, but Billy Sumption is here.
In this match, I ain't believing what I saw, but this guy had him down 2 games to nothing, 4 to nothing. The nail was driven in, and when he ended it with 5 by 15 straight shots, and from any position on the table, he did not miss. He didn't get a slop shot, and it's never been repeated again today. And that's an honor for Dr. Mike Bowers.
Here's that $100. All right, another Hall of Famer, Mike Bells, that we introduced earlier. He'll be presenting for Greg Perry.
Alrighty. Well, I was really excited when Greg asked me to introduce him. You know, it's fun to be part of something like this. And Greg's a longtime friend, family friend, and you know, his two boys are here. I want to acknowledge them. Brandon and Ricky are here to see their dad. I know they're very proud of him. Yeah, no, it's just great. Greg probably being one of the most competitive people I've ever met. I mean, you know what? If you played him on a foosball table, if you were going to play him, he was going to come at you hard. And if you were going to start beating him, he was going to raise the bar. And that's just that's the sign of a champion, you know. And that's the way he played, and that's the way he actually lives life. My brother, also a very good friend of Greg's, and in fact, they lived together in Canada for a couple of years, and they just these guys would compete on everything. You would be amazed if I told you some of the things. But you know, in fact, my brother even sent me a text before I got here, and he goes, now, don't mention the time that we were wrestling with Greg. We put him in a double headlock and a submission hold, and I said, I can't mention that, Scotty, because it might not be true. But anyway, you know, he's just one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet, and a great foozer. And I wrote down a few things. I have to write them down because I'll goof it up if I don't. Okay, some of the Greg's highlights over the years. One of the few foozers that has won titles in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So 3-4 decades, you know, of foosball on all the tables: Tornado, Dynamo, Striker, tournament soccer. He could win on anything. But you know, that's his competitive spirit, and he's just a natural athlete anyway. He was part of the 2010 Senior World Cup title, and then he won the World Singles and Doubles title with that. He had, let's see, other top moments would be when he took third in open doubles with the incredible Laurie Schranz, and he won the National Open titles with Tina Rotan, and I think that's the first in foosball for that. I don't know if that's been duplicated. Then he won the world's mixed doubles with the amazing Bev Froome, who got nominated today. Congratulations, Bev. Congratulations to everybody. You know, I grew up with Kenny, played foosball all my life with him. It's kind of a fun thing to be part of today. Then he won the Green Jacket and Masters national singles title, which he won on his 38th birthday. So, you know, he got to do that on his birthday, which is really cool. I mean, these are just some great moments. I believe he came back from a 2-4 deficit in the 5th game and won that, and then he won the World Singles title in 1988. And, you know, his desire to win, his competitive spirit, you know, that's why he's getting this honor today. He's a winner, he's a champion, he's a dear friend of mine, Greg Perry. I don't know, his jacket.
Spelled my name wrong. No, I'm kidding. Beautiful. Wow. Well, that's a lot of years of foos, and a lot of really dear friends here. I didn't write anything down because I just sort of wanted to speak from my heart about foosball and friendship and winning and how that can relate maybe to the rest of your life. Because, you know, foosball is great, it's wonderful, it's been an integral part of my life, and it was something that, you know, has as everyone in this room knows, it gets in your skin and it doesn't let go, and you have no choice. You know, when I was in my early 20s, I was traveling around the world playing foosball and actually, you know, surviving. I mean, I wasn't making any money, but I'd get enough money to go to the next tournament. And it reminds me of an old friend of all ours, John Shotwell, who for like a year and a half hitchhiked to every single tournament for about a year and a half and made a living hitchhiking, having fun, staying on people's couches. And I can't even think about how many different couches and houses and friends I have all over the country and all over the world because of this sport. And, you know, from Adrian to Mike and Todd LaFredo, my arch nemesis and friend for many years. Dave Gumison, who I helped raise when he was a little tyke. When he first went out on his first date, I was there. Sort of. I wasn't there. I was giving him props. He was so cute. Bev, winning my first world mixed doubles title with Bev, that was such a special thing for me. And I was, you know, just starting, and she really carried me. Let me tell you, she carried me. She bricked everybody. So that one was all you, Bev. I remember an amazing match that Mike Bowers and I had against Don Chalifoux and Tony Bacon for the LA Open title, and coming down to meet Nut and losing to you bums. But it was, I'll never forget that match. I even remember the last shot of that match. I got stuffed from the back by Tony's five rod. You remember certain things about foosball. I was like 25 years ago. I still remember that. You know, and foosball is just one of those things that sticks with you. Tina Rotan. Hi. Winning the national doubles title against all guys. In fact, I beat Tony. You weren't playing with Tony then. He was playing with somebody else, but we won the national. No, we played Mike Bowers. That's right. In the final. And again, I get carried by a woman, Tina. Awesome. Any of you guys think that you shouldn't play with a woman in open doubles? You're wrong. There's some amazing women out there, and I'm a big feminist, and you should play with them because they're friggin' amazing. In open. Taking third in the world in the World Championships with Lori Schranz, and that was amazing. And it was when they had like 300 teams, and she was just as good as any guy in the room, no question about it. So, you know, give the women their props, they deserve it. I'm just really thankful to be here. I'm thankful that I was able to spend as many years in this sport that I did. I enjoyed every one of them and have so many dear friends, and I think that's the thing that I'll take with me into the future for this and into what I'm doing in the future, which probably doesn't allow me to play as much foosball as I used to, but boy, it's in my heart and I love it, and I hope all you guys take the things you learn, the competitiveness, to be the best you have to practice, be dedicated, focused, and want it more than the other guy. And if you take those attributes that you learn here at a foosball table and you apply them to your life, in your jobs, in your business, and love what you do, you're going to be successful, you're going to make money, you're going to be happy, and that's the most important thing in life is I think, being happy. So, find what it is in life you can do that makes you happy. Do that, do it well, and I love all you guys. Thank you.
Presenting for Don Chalifoux, Steve Biney.
Expounding on what some of them already said, foosball is such a great game. It's an amazing game. It's different than darts or pool or bowling where people take their turn. It's interesting because you have an opponent 3 feet apart from you trying to prevent you from doing everything you want to do, and you're trying to prevent them from doing what they want to do. And it's intense, and it's frustrating. And there's high highs and there's low lows. But the game does get in your blood, and it's hard to step away from it. And I'm not sure that anybody ever really can. Besides all that, the best part of the game for me has been the friendships that I've made along the way. And I've played for 38 years. It's the lifelong friends we make along the way playing the game that mean the most, at least to me, and I know it does to most everybody in here. We often refer to our fellow players as our, quote, foosball family. And I look around this room while this presentation is going on, and I can remember so many matches, terrible losses that linger longer than the victories, and some good victories too. But most important, just the friends and being together, because that's why we do it. We don't do it for the money. But I'm about to introduce one of the lifelong friends I made playing this game along the way. In fact, we were partners for a couple years in the 90s. And he and I traveled the country. We still do. And we've won together, we've lost together. In fact, when we lost, it was all his fault, you have to admit. And when we won, it was all me, baby. I've also played against Don Chalifoux many times. Intense matches, you know, things get heated, but off the table, total respect, total friendship, and I appreciate that about Don. Don is a Vietnam veteran. He served his nation, and I applaud you for your service to our country. Another thing about Don, which you know these days it's quite a feat. He's been married to his wife Gail for 33 years. He's a patriot and he's a family man. In fact, all through the years, Don always missed all the tournaments on 4th of July. So he couldn't go to the Nationals or any of those tournaments because he chose to spend that time with his family. And he had his priorities in line, which is why he's the man he is. And to this day, he continues to play at a high level. He promotes the game to this day. He has tables on location. He mentors young players. He's a true ambassador of the game, and it's guys like him is the reason for the Hall of Fame. He's what the Hall of Fame is all about. He's the best of the best. Don has won numerous local, state, regional, and even world titles. He and his main partner, Tony Bacon, appeared in 4 World Championship Open Doubles finals, winning 2 of them. Don, if you knew him then, he really embodied teamwork. They took the game to another level. He's an encouraging partner. He's always positive and good-natured. He's well known for the goalie to the forward passing series that's kind of a lost art today. But when he played with Tony, it was a work of art. And I want to close with this. Don Chalifoux is one of the best big match players in history. He is also one of the best defensive goalies when it was 4-4. That goal seemed like it was 1 inch wide. He really put the pressure on his opponent. I've seen him pull out so many victories from what seemed to be certain defeats. The man doesn't know what the word quit means. He's a winner, and now he's a Hall of Famer. It is my privilege and my great pleasure to introduce the 2013 inductee to the USA Table Soccer Hall of Fame, Uncle Don Chalifoux.
Holy crap. Well, this truly is amazing. I'm humble. I'm just so happy. I've got so many people to thank. I think I know just about everybody in this room. I want to start. I want to thank the good Lord. He was with me when I was in the war, and still with me today. I came from a pretty big family, 6 brothers, 3 brothers and sisters, 7 of us. I'm the oldest. And, you know, my parents raised me the right way, so I want to thank them. I know my mom's out there watching. My dad's up there watching. And I want to thank them, but I got to thank my dear wife, Gail. I know she's watching. You know, she's done so much for so many Foosers. She's always had her arms open. She's stepped over 25 bodies on the floor sleeping, you know. She's had us coming at 5 in the morning, crashing in, and never objected, was always there for us. So, I love you, honey. I know you're out there. I'll see you soon. I'm coming home, I promise. I want to thank all the Hall of Fame members. What an honor. I just look at all of you. I know every one of you is dearly. We've had some very special times. And, oh boy. I got to thank, you know, Dave, for keeping the sport going. Dave Carrington, thank you very much, Dave, what you've done for us. Link was there. Where's he at? There you are, Link. Link too. He was there the whole time promoting. Oh, and I had some big fun at Link's. You guys, a lot of you remember Link's the old game room he had, and oh, we had some good tournaments there. And he had a lot of champions come out of his game room. Thanks for everything, Link. And Kathy, oh Kathy, she was like mine and Tony's mother. She watched us, made sure we were at the matches, always took care of us. Thank you for everything, Kathy, and everything you still do. Thank you very much. And Mr. Jim Stevens, that I've known since he was maybe around 15 or 16. I moved out to LA for a little while, and you know, I wanted to thank all the LA family that took me in. One of my old partners, Greg Perry, Jeep, same thing. He opened his house. He always had 50 Foosers staying overnight. Sometimes I had to sleep under the foosball table at Greg's house. And the LA family, Brendan, and you know, Jim Stevens, Bill Cavanaugh, my dear friend, Ben Rivera, one of my partners, Rick Hernandez, Rickster. These guys always took care of me out there in LA. Thanks for all you guys, my LA family. Thank you. And everything you do, Jim, that you've always done. And you are definitely one of the, not only foosball announcers, you're, in my opinion, one of the greatest announcers. And thanks for everything you do, Jim. You know, I got to think, I've had some great partners. You know, I climbed the mountain back in the day, and I got to see some of the greats. But just first, you know, I want to thank, of course, my dear friend and partner, Tony Bacon. We had an amazing run. A lot of you know Tony was definitely truly one of the best forwards ever, and singles players. You know, he's got some great accomplishments and titles. And one of my first mentors and one of the first foosball players I looked up to. A lot of you know, Mike would know, George Petrohilos. George was one of the first great players from Chicago, and he led the way. I mean, I was following in his footsteps, and we played in some big tournaments. We were 4th in Chicago Undergrander, and we won a bunch of state tournaments and stuff. Thank you, George. I know you're out there. I had some great partners: Jerry Knowles, Jeep, me and Greg. We beat Dan Kaiser and Kenny Rivera for the California State in '79. Thanks, Jeep, for everything you've done for us and being my partner, buddy. Chad Hansen, another one of my partners, we won the '83 Texas State Championships. Whoa, was that tough. And Steve Murray, we had to get by, and the Smith brothers, and all the great Texas players. Or if anybody ever goes to Texas State, they know how tough those guys are. And let me see, Ben Rivera. Thanks, Ben. We got second in the LA 25 Grander. Had some great times with Ben. Steve Biney, played with him for a couple years. And just for the record, I did carry Steve, just so everybody knows. Thanks, Steve. We had a lot of fun. Thanks for introducing me. Craig Leggins, you know, Craig's in some hard times right now. Me and Craig won the Missouri State Championships once, and God bless you, Craig. I hope you're out there listening. Hope you were here for a long time for us, buddy. Ronnie Nevoy, another one of my great partners. Got fourth in the Worlds. Lost to Bowers and Todd. They got us. But you know, I've been around my first tournament was in 1975, but I probably should backtrack because my first foosball that I ever played actually was in Vietnam. They had a little bitty game room on our compound, and they had one foosball table, one pool table. And I'll never forget the first day I went into the game room. Everybody was leaning on the rods and sitting on the foosball table waiting for the next pool game. We played it a couple times and spun the rods and we go, what the heck is this game, you know? Then the very next year I go to Germany. Well, I go into the game room in Germany and there's 2 foosball tables and 2 pool tables. Well, everybody was sitting on the pool tables and they were all playing foosball. The marks, which were quarters in Germany, they were lined up. Everybody was playing foosball. I looked at it and I go, holy crap, look at this game. And I never looked back. I thought it was so amazing. I started playing, I fell in love with the game, and it's truly, in my mind, just one of the most greatest action games that there really is. And I got back home from the service, I heard there was foosball tournaments. I said, oh, foosball tournaments? Yeah, I'm pretty good at this, I'm gonna go try it. Well, I went out to Denver in my very first tournament, 1975 World Championship, and I found out I wasn't as good as I thought I was. But it was an honor to see some of the great legends. Kaiser and Revere won it. I think Simon won singles in that one. And you know, I've seen all the greats. I've seen the amazing Mike Belts and Brent Bender in '76 when I was there. They were awesome. You guys were great, Mike. Of course, I've seen the most amazing World Championship victory in my mind. The 2 17-year-olds. The Duke, Todd, the Great, Lafredo, and Gil Jackson at 17. I was there. My mouth, my jaw, everybody we were so amazed. They were so incredible. I was there for, I've seen so many great champions. You know, Terry and Bobby, just, you know, on. And, you know, I got to see Billy. And when I first seen Billy Sumption, what a great player he was. Like I said, I mentioned the Smith brothers. God bless you, Daniel. God, they were great. And you know, I've always had a great support system with all the Chicago foosball family. Always had some great dear friends. We've all stuck together. The old generation, the new, and I thank all of them for just being in my corner all the time. And I have to say that, you know, the sport, it's had its ups and downs. There's been a lot of great players through the years, and when I look around now and I see, you know, Tony Spreederman, and, you know, Ryan and Robert, and, you know, Billy, and all the great new young players. Don Bushkowski Jr. made a little noise last year in Chicago. I think the sport's in really good hands, and you guys are all great ambassadors of sport. And, you know, I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of things I should have mentioned, but all in all, I just want to say, you know, I love all you guys. I love this sport. I'm never going to stop playing I'm never going to stop. And I'm always going to try to promote it, and I'm going to just do everything I can just to make this sport as big as we can. And if everybody else tries all together, it's a great sport. We do need a sponsor, and I think someday we're gonna get lucky and get one again. And I think I think foosball's on the grow. When you look around in the country and in Europe and everywhere, it's on the move. It's, you know, we need to corral it and get a big sponsor. And I gotta thank Mary Moore. You know, she's done a lot for the last many years, keeping it together. Thank you, Mary, for everything. You do a lot. You do a real lot. You know, I've set tournaments up with her. I've you know, co-promoted some tournaments with her, and now I really know what she really goes through. Thank you very much, Mary. So I hope I didn't forget any. There's one of my old friends, Gary, down there. I played with him in the bars in Chicago in 1973 when we played for beers, and occasionally we'd walk out maybe with a few bruises from a little extracurricular activity. But yeah, I want to thank everybody. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Hall of Fame members, for voting me in. I'm truly humble and thankful, and thank you very much for everybody. Thanks.
And finally, presenting for Ronnie Lewis would be Dave Currington.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here, and it's good to see everyone. Unlike every other person, I found out that I was going to be introducing my good friend Ronnie Lewis about 10 minutes ago. So y'all are going to have to listen to a few old Fat Dave stories about Ronnie Lewis, because I didn't have a lot of time to write stuff down. Ronnie started playing foosball in New Orleans in 1972. Great core group of players there. John Zoller, Jay Campion, Denise Lott. I mean, they're really good players. And his mother and father got transferred to Houston. He got in Houston in November, or in June of '74. And it just so happened I came to Houston just a little while after that. Just after around Thanksgiving, and I didn't know foosball. I'd seen it twice in my home state, Alabama. A good friend of mine, Steve Williams, who I worked together, Steve came to Houston like Ronnie did to play foosball. Because let me tell you something, foosball in Houston was tough. Steve wanted me to go to a tournament. Hey, come on. I didn't know what he was talking about. Come on up, we'll play, and I'll win and give you half the money, good looking girls, beer, all you got to do is stand around. So I thought it was a pretty good thing. I walked in and saw this place. It was just tremendous. At that time, there were 4 foos halls in Houston with 30 plus tables in them, countless of rooms with 12 to 16 tables in them. I mean, foosball was hard. Ronnie Lewis was at that tournament that night. I didn't get first place money, half of that, because Ronnie won that event. You'd go to a tournament in Houston during those times, and you'd have to wade through players like Joe Campion, Mark Snyder, Carl Peterson, George Garber, Ricky and Doug Lewis. Then there was that Pasadena faction who hated the Houston players, and the Houston players hated the Pasadena players. So when they would mix in together, when you went over there, you'd have to play guys like John and Daniel Smith, Mike Hawkins, Larry John, Steve Williams. And then before the tour events would start up, because everyone, they wanted to get better, so they would come to Houston to play the best, you'd come up to a local tournament and you'd see guys like Gary Sixkiller, Joe Burkhalter, Fast Eddie Whitesides, Lane Honeycutt, Steve Simons. Foosball in Houston was tough. King Daddy Boss was Ronnie Lewis. I remember one time I went to a tournament in Pasadena at the Tornado Place. There was a Tornado Place in Pasadena and one in Houston. And when Ronnie came through the door, the guy that owned the place, he said, "Friggin' Lewis, we're going to show him." He sent one of his minions out, and they got $100 worth of pennies, put it in a jar. Sure enough, Ronnie won that tournament, and they paid him in a jar full of pennies. That was their way of telling him not to come back. In 1970, 5, Bill Rickett, who built the Dynamo Foosball table, was smart enough to hire Ronnie to be on his promo team. Him and George Garber went around the country, city after city, setting up a table, playing folks, and the deal was, if you beat them in a 3 out of 5 match, 2 out of 3 match, you got $500. They lost once. Everywhere they went, Ronnie Lewis was the man. It's just that simple. He was so dominant in singles in those days. A $10,000 tournament I was privileged to be at in Harlingen, Texas. They had a rule you couldn't play. Then they wasn't lucky enough to have some of the tournaments that we have now. They wouldn't let you play goalie wars and singles because they ran together. And Ronnie signed up for both because he was Ronnie Lewis and could do whatever the hell he wanted to, basically, when he came to a tournament. But they told him, said, listen, if it's a conflict, you're going to have to forfeit out of one of those events. Well, as luck would have it, in just a few minutes, it came up a conflict. And because he could win every singles match, he never got to play goalie wars, Ronnie Lewis elected to forfeit out of singles and won his goalie war tournament. Because he could do it, didn't matter which end of the table. That's the kind of player Ronnie was. 4-time world champion, national champions, Tornadoes. He played mixed doubles. He was tough when he had a woman behind him. I mean, he was a tough player. One with Becky Williams, one with Kathy Black, dominant mixed doubles everywhere he went. Open doubles, Leo Quinn, Joe Campion, national champions. At that time, Dynamo had a point race. I'm going to tell a story that Ronnie probably won't like. Him and George Garber were playing, winning, and George is, after all, just a goalie, right? But you got as many points for winning if you was a goalie or a forward. Well, halfway through the season, Ronnie decided he'd break that up and got Rhett Harding and started winning all the tournaments with Rhett. Left poor George standing there, poor lonesome George, what to do? Didn't matter who he played with, Ronnie Lewis was going to win. You had to beat Ronnie Lewis. He never beat himself. He didn't make mistakes. He was the ultimate professional. He came up to that table. Wasn't a lot of recalls on Ronnie Lewis. He was there to do his job. His job was to beat everyone that walked up to that table. Lucky enough to talk to Marcio over at the amusement show that I was working. I told Marcio that Ronnie had got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Marcio tells me, I remember him. He never played tournament soccer, and he come up to Denver, and we had to play him in the finals, and I thought, who is this guy? I'll never forget his 5-bar and how well he passed. And last night at the table, they certainly rekindled some old friendships and talked about some matches. It's such a pleasure to introduce Ronnie Lewis, Hall of Fame member. Thanks, Ronnie, for being here. Thanks for all you've done for the sport. Congratulations. Please come up. Ronnie Lewis. Let's get these pictures out of the way first, okay? Don't rush. I ain't wearing them. Wear it with pride, my friend. There you go. Thank you.
Let's see, how far away? Well, I'm sure I'm glad I came. I wasn't gonna come, and then out of the blue, the guy I work for
heard I wasn't gonna make it, and he paid my way over here, so last minute plane flight, a couple of nights hotel, close to 1,000. So that was really nice of him, and I didn't think I'd have as much fun as I've had this weekend. Found a great place to play poker nearby, and let's see. I appreciate the honor, and all these people. A lot of these people are my old friends, and thank you all for remembering me. And I hope all these words come out right. I got it, but you know, it was a fun ride. I mean, this game is so addicting. It's good to see it growing again. I think this weekend it kind of came to me a little bit more about why it's so addicting. It's like this foosball, table soccer it seems like it's nothing like regular soccer, but it seems like it's a combination of chess and football. And what's so great about this game is normally to be a great chess player, you have to have like a rare memory. You have to be able to remember, you know, and have to have a memory off the charts, but in foosball, anyway, so it is a lot of chess, but like I said, you don't have to have the memory of like a 300 IQ person. And then it's a mixture of chess and football, and of course I'm not talking about F-U-T-B-O-L. Again, it's nothing like regular soccer to me, but you know, regular like NFL football. You got the football elements and tied in with the chess elements, and I think that's why this game is so addicting. Because then you could just get off into this deep strategy fest land, and the game itself is such a great game, and I'm just I'm glad I came. But again, you know, thanks for the honor, thanks for all the people who remembered me from way back, and now I'm gonna get this out, and this is not the norm for sports acceptance speeches, but there's two things I want to say to help you guys with your journey down the road, and just in regular life. But the truth about this world is in the King James Bible. And the second thing I want to share with you is I think God showed me what the best health book is of all time. I was looking for a different book, and I kind of stumbled upon this book, and I tell everybody about this book because it really, the knowledge in this book really saved my health, or helped me in my 40s. I was having some major health problems, and it's just 5 words to remember, a title and author. It's called Sick and Tired with a question mark by Robert Young, and I hope y'all get a chance to read that. But it's all about natural healing. He covers almost everything we eat or drink, how good or how bad it is for you, and why. The guy's got a PhD in microbiology and chemistry, but the book's not that hard to read. So, and I hope it helps you guys down the road, you know, not having to go to a doctor or hospital, you know. And so I wanted to get that out, no matter how awkward it, you know, in the setting it is. So, but again, you know, I wouldn't trade my foosball experience for anything. And you know, in the 70s, originally I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I just feel really blessed. I got to move to Houston in June of 1974, and like Dave Carrington said, you know, foosball was already big in Texas, and it was so much fun traveling around, and you know, meeting all these good, you know, superhuman beings, and it is more of like a kind of a family, you know, in our sport, you know, kind of a big family, big extended family. So, you know, I didn't think all these old friends, these all-time great foosball players all would come out here this weekend. So I'm glad all these people made it, and it's just been a great ride. I mean, I've had the time of my life, you know, traveling around. And it's, like I say, you can't beat this. I mean, the time I got those 4 or 5 years where I was able to play this game for a living, and like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was just so much fun, and you know, that's it. Like I said, I appreciated y'all for the honor, and been a great ride, and like I said, I've had a lot of, I just hope, like I said, it looks like table soccer's growing again right now, and I think it's on the right course again. I think Mary Moore and Kathy are just doing a phenomenal job, and then I met Eddie Edwards is helping them this weekend. It seems like a superhuman being, so, and I think it's going to keep growing. I think it's going to keep growing from here, so I guess that's all I got to say, but like I said, it's been, it's a great game, and I think it can, of course, this game has been super big in Europe for a long time, and like I said, I just hope it keeps growing and growing. And I got a feeling it is. I got a feeling it's definitely growing again. So I guess that's all I got to say. But thank you all again very much. And
It was a fun ride. If I could get on the bus and go back to 1970 again, I'd do it in a flash. The best thing about being on this list is all the other people that are on there. And if you look at it, you need to realize that all these people, at some point in time, there was a place when they stepped up to a foosball table and they were the best at what they did, and they were the best in the world. And when I look at how far the game has come since I was playing in the early 70s to what Mary Moore is presenting here, this is such a professional setup compared to where it came from. And everyone has given Mary accolades how well she's done and how good it looks, but it's really super incredible, fantastic. Thank you, Mary Moore. 3 years from now, it's going to be 2016. The Hall of Fame will be 30 years old. I think we're going to put a push on to get all these people here at once if we can, 3 years hence. And I'll be working towards that goal, I know that. Thank you for everybody for being here tonight, listening, and congratulations once again to the 2013 class. You guys deserve it.
Thank you.